Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Trivia Wild. Today we are talking about, it is such a simple request. UberEats driver says Chick-Fil-A refused to give him a plastic bag for his disabled customer. So with the gig economy comes a lot of discrimination, and part of that comes with the lack of things they're willing to provide us to actually complete the order. Sometimes it's justified because they don't have everything, and sometimes you could tell they're doing it on purpose. So with that said, I want to go over everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is for gig workers on Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub, as well as the customers associated with it and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. An UberEats driver was left baffled after he asked a Chick-Fil-A employee for a plastic bag for a customer he was delivering to. The request ended up becoming quite a dramatic affair, with the store allegedly outright refusing to hand over the additional item. It was a plastic bag. Do you not have plastic bags? Is that the issue here? Because if they had the plastic bag, then you should be just passing over a plastic bag. I don't know what's so goddamn hard about this. But if they don't have it, okay, you can only do so much. But usually Chick-fil-A has them. I don't know what the problem is. A driver recorded the incident and uploaded it to TikTok under the account at Lifeoftheowl, where their interaction with the Chick-fil-A staff went viral, racking up more than 692,000 views as of March 19th. The things you do for content, huh? I'm going to leave his TikTok as well as his profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. What made matters more confusing, the driver explains, was that he never previously had issues with getting extra bags, sauces, napkins, or plastic cutlery in the past. Food service workers in general have a strong discrimination against UberEats drivers and gig workers overall. I remember having an incident with Chick-fil-A relatively recently where I never had an issue in the past, and suddenly they tried to play this manipulative game with me that actually was a violation of contract between the restaurant and Uber, and because of that they ended up banning me from the store. There was a whole email battle. And why? Because they had to play a manipulative game. It was not the whole restaurant's worth of employees. It was that one person who had an issue with me. I'm gonna leave that video in the description in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Feel free to check it out. It was a stressful experience overall. But seriously, it really does take one person to change the entire landscape of the freaking restaurant. The video begins with the Chick-fil-A worker explaining to the UberEats driver that the delivery persons are supposed to bring bags to pick up the order, but the driver explains the bag is for his customer who is handicapped. That's not an excuse to not provide a bag for a customer. Maybe if you were saying, okay, we don't have plastic bags, do you have some for the customer? Fine. But you're just saying you don't want to provide it. I actually had a similar issue with a BurgerFi where they refused to provide drink trays to me. Even though they gave them to the first 3 customers, they had plenty to give out, but they tried not to provide me a drink tray for 3 milkshakes for the customer? Are you out of your fracking mind? And now you're trying to not provide bags to handicapped customers on UberEats because you have a problem with gig workers. That's disgusting. Chick-fil-A is disgusting. The TikToker adds more context in the caption, writing, "Serious question. Am I tripping or overreacting? This is the first issue I've ever dealt with picking up an order." No, you're not tripping. You're not overreacting. Sometimes there are some restaurant workers that have a discrimination against gig workers that come in and ruin the entire restaurant. The plastic bag was for a customer who asked me to make sure they had a plastic bag around her food and drink, he continued. I've never had an issue getting an extra bag, napkins, sauces, straws, etc. for customers when they ask for extras. My job is to make sure they're happy with my service, and I got everything they needed. You see, this driver is not only a quality driver to make sure he goes above and beyond for their customers, but he was fulfilling a request for somebody who was handicapped. In the clip, the Chick-fil-A worker calls over another employee who appears to be the manager on duty, who directly addresses the TikToker. You know, for a corporation that is so dead set on customer service, you seem to have a particular distaste or a discrimination against gig workers, and for that, go screw yourself. The world's better off without a corporation like that. So we are just adhering to our store's policy that we can only give out the plastic bags for the items that go in them for such things as salads, side salads, and cold products, he says. He further explains the policy is to avoid unnecessary waste. Oh, what kind of BS excuse is that? The customer is handicapped. You're asking drivers to not provide service to their customers simply because you don't want to do your job and hand over a plastic bag. Unnecessary waste. I'll give you unnecessary waste. The TikToker didn't seem satisfied with this response and wanted to know what kind of waste the Chick-fil-A worker was referring to. Paper products, the employee clarifies. That's just our operator's policy, the manager says with a smile. I love how he says it like that. Like he's so giddy to be lying straight to your face. The Uber Eats driver keeps recording the worker saying, so a handicapped woman can't get a plastic bag, they ask. The employee interrupts that they don't discriminate when it comes to their customers, but repeatedly that their policy strictly indicates that plastic bags only come with particular items that are ordered in an effort to reduce waste. Bullcrap. If a customer asked, you would have had no problem with it. However, this wasn't a customer, this was a gig worker asking. You were 100% discriminating because you lied, because you have always lied, because you always will lie. It's just a plastic bag, the Uber Eats driver says, before the manager acquiesces that while he understands where he's coming from, that's just company policy. You're lying through your teeth. Because again, if this was a normal customer that was going through their drive-thru or was going into the restaurant online, they wouldn't have this issue. But because the gig worker, they're having this issue. The Uber Eats driver says he was going to show the video to the customer before he clip cuts it out. In a previous video, the driver explains that although he's not usually the type of person to complain about something so mundane as this, he nonetheless wanted to expound upon what happened at the Chick-fil-A while completing his Uber Eats order. You did that to protect yourself, and that is so smart of you to do. Because here's the reality. When I say gig workers are discriminated against, people think I'm crazy. No, this is actually things that happen. It's these little things that people would never assume happens, but they do. And it's disgusting. He says the customer specifically requested an additional plastic bag to wrap the drinks in since they were handicapped and were worried the styrofoam cups would spill. As they should. Now, again, I don't know if the plastic bag was a great way to make sure the styrofoam cups were spilled, but you know what? If that's what the customer wants, that's what the customer gets. The TikToker states they were told by Chick-fil-A employees that their store policy prevents them from handing out additional plastic bags to DoorDashers, Uber Eats drivers, and delivery drivers. It's not that Chick-fil-A has a problem with giving it to a customer. They have a problem with giving it to a DoorDash driver, an Uber Eats driver, or a Grubhub driver, because that's disgusting. He says he asked Chick-fil-A what the deal with their policy is, stressing that the bags aren't for drivers to hoard, but for their customers. The driver caps off his video by stating that the primary reason he was so miffed about the situation was that the employee's denial of the bag request prevented him from fulfilling a customer's order to their liking. You mean a customer made a request and Chick-fil-A chose not to do their freaking job and we're gonna be rated for that? No, I'd be miffed too. Some viewers said his complaint about the plastic bags wasn't mundane at all, as there are individuals with disabilities where having a single plastic bag to carry in items makes a world of difference. Yo, it really is though. Most people don't understand the challenge holding 4 paper bags and drinks is going to actually be, and then you actually have the ability to deliver the order to the customer, and for some reason they have to do the same thing, but they can put it all in a plastic bag, making it easier for all parties involved. Actually, now that I think about it, I've actually delivered Chick-fil-A orders in big plastic bags before. What is the big deal now? It's not mundane, one viewer commented. I'm an amputee and I can't imagine carrying in an order with a drink or any liquid without a plastic bag. That's really sad to hear, my friend. I'm so sorry. I hope that people are a little bit more accommodating to you than Chick-fil-A obviously isn't. Another question, if the bag isn't for customers to carry their orders, then what are they for? Oh, that's easy. They're for customers who actually go into the store and order, not for Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub drivers. It's not about the customers to carry their orders. They're for Chick-fil-A customers, not DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub customers. One TikToker user applauded the TikToker's dedication for going above and beyond for their customer, writing, "Thank you for respecting the customer's request and going to so much effort to accommodate that. You are not tripping. You are fantastic." Here's the sad part about that statement. That's 100% right, and they're probably banned from Chick-fil-A for that reason, unless they actually manage to find a plastic bag on their own. Someone else said it was blatantly disrespectful of Chick-fil-A to deny that request, and had been in the same situation, they would have assisted the customer in bringing their food indoors. I don't blame you. I would have been like, "Hey, where do you want this? Let me bring it in for you," because Chick-fil-A is ran by a bunch of failures. The Uber Eats driver responded to them, stated that this is exactly what they ended up doing. "Yeah, that's what ended up happening," he wrote. "I messaged her about the situation and told her I'd help her bring in her food to where she'd want it." Good on you, my friend. You did so much more than most drivers would have been willing to commit to. Because some drivers would have heard that and just said, "Oh, I tried my best," and that would be it. You actually went so far above and beyond for their customers. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. This is exactly the type of unspoken discrimination that goes on in the gig economy. Chick-fil-A refuses to do their job to provide quality service to gig workers simply because they don't like gig workers. And this is not a specific Chick-fil-A thing. This is an all gig workers thing. This is an all restaurants thing. This is just an overall gig economy problem. But is anybody addressing it? No. They watch my videos me talking about this and think I'm crazy. Like, I've never experienced that, so clearly it doesn't happen. No, you want to know when people get on the DoorDash driver's side or the Uber Eats driver's side or the Grubhub driver's side? When a customer with a disability ends up having an issue. The customer had a disability. They literally had no choice but to ask for help. And because of that, Chick-fil-A, who has such pleasure in helping their customers, refuses to help their customers. It's disgusting. So if anybody ever says, "Oh, Chick-fil-A is this great place," no, it's not. This is the crap that goes down. This is why I would never go to a Chick-fil-A, because if this is how they treat people simply because they're not making as much money from them, why should I provide them my service? Seriously, there are places I refuse to go to as a customer because I know the restaurant treats me like garbage. Good on this driver for going above and beyond. This is yet another display of how Chick-fil-A is a disappointing failure of a business, and it really is another display of how one person who has a particular distaste for gig workers completely ruins the entire experience for all parties involved. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.